Hi there, it's Dave again. I left you the other day having just completed the sign-up process, and I'm into my system, and you can see on the desktop in front of us here an area we call our cover sheet. The cover sheet is set up by each of our application partners, so yours may look very different, including the background picture, and obviously the package that you've signed up for will dictate what applications appear here in the main header of the cover sheet. Don't worry about the perceived complexity of this at initial first glance. It becomes very intuitive to use very quickly. As the new administrator of this brand new instance, I've still got a fair few tasks to complete in order to complete setting up my business and readying it really to add employees and in some cases customers or clients to the system so that they can access it as well. So you can see here that the domain that I set for my company was Acme Enterprises 4, and so I've now got this vanity URL. I'll go back to my cover sheet here, and this makes it easy for people to log in again to the system because they can remember the URL in this format. So first jobs really as the administrator is preparing the system so it's going to work for my company. Easiest place to do that is through the administration console, and to a certain extent, depending on the configuration applied by our application partner in each case, the getting started tips that we looked at in the last video might guide you through that. So I'll go to administration first. Let's configure the system for our business. Each area of the system, or each major application building block that you see here on the left, has typically an accompanying administrative function where you define the look, the feel, the content and the structure of that application. Key really when you get started is getting your company set up, so I'm going to focus first of all on the global settings and my company. Before I can add users to the system, for the purposes of an example, let's assume that I am working with two other electricians. We've got a small electrical professional services company, and we supply and fit lighting, we wire houses, and we do all of those typical professional services. So I'll use that as the model in setting up my company. First thing we want to do is make sure that our company itself is established. So if I click on that, you can see that I've already uploaded a picture here. If I wanted to change it, I would click Edit Details and delete the existing picture or clear it, select one from my local PC and upload it, and I've already added Acme Enterprises logo. So while I'm editing it, let's check the rest of the details are correct, including the registration number, tax ID, maybe major contact details, website address, and the currency that you want to do your billing in. So yeah, that looks okay. And you saw that it was updating the report template. So the top and tail, the header and the footer, including the logo position and everything for my reports have been done automatically. Now I need to look at the locations I've got. The templates that are used by the system when it sets up the company for the first time for the administrator uses some dummy information in order to create the referential integrity and support the referential integrity of the platform on first use. So it's created 4 offices as examples for me. I'm going to get rid of these, I think. Yeah, so I'll hit delete, say yes. I'll delete New York, I wish. I'll delete Paris, yes. And I'll delete London, yes. So let's add a new office. And the office location, I'll have it here where I'm based. So Monmouth, the address is Cornwall Crescent office, and a phone number, I'll add it there. So there we go, we've added our first office location, and also add details of your company's bank accounts. It is possible to integrate the solution natively with Xero for accounting. So when invoices are sent out, or orders are sent out and bills are paid, that automatically updates. So you can do this here. I'm just going to leave the dummy one in for now. Let's go back then to our global settings and look. Really, the next key area, once you've gone through and you've established your company, you've got it set up, and before we add users to the platform, is to think about what permissions you want your users to have. So if I go over to global settings, and we've got permission groups, we'll see here that by default, power users is the default setting. That may be okay if there's only 2 of you working in the business. That basically gives everybody full administrative rights across the solution. But no, I know my 2 colleagues in my business, and they're definitely not as technically savvy as I am, nor do I want them particularly seeing details of everything across the business. Maybe one of my employees is part-time or a contractor, and I don't want him seeing details of all of our leads or opportunities. By all means, his own ones, but not those owned across the company. And this is where I would start setting up new users. So let's say I wanted to add a restricted user template from a permission and role-based perspective. So I'll add a new one, and I'm going to call this basic user, and the user role is a standard user. I'm not going to make it the default role. The default role would set this role by default for every new user you add to the system. So for each application building block that you've licensed within the solution or you have available to you, there is a commensurate configuration layer where you determine for this user type what permissions they have. So under general, do you want them to see their holidays? Yes. Do you want to see the view of the team? Yes. Sales team? Yes. Help desk tickets, and so on. So we're going to enable the My World view for this user so they can see everything that applies to them. They can see their own timesheets. They can log time when they've been assigned to a project. Yeah, that will be key. Are they allowed to log time for any project? No. This restricted user, I'm going to have logging time only within projects they've been assigned to. Can they view their expenses? Are they allowed to add expenses within an assigned project? Yes. Are they allowed to add expenses for any project? Again, no. Give some thought to how you want to establish the relationship between a user, their role, and the activities they have across your business, and work your way through all of these. So let's have a look at one of the other areas. CRM, for example. Do you want them to administer the CRM app? Absolutely not. Do you want them to view your contacts? Yes. Do you want them to be able to edit them? No. Delete them? No. Change the odor? No. Import? No. Allow them to see or edit the records that they're creating? Yes. Do you want them to see special information recorded against all your contacts? I'll say no. And so on. So they can view the company leads, they can view, but they can't edit or delete them. They can view and only own their own assigned ones and only edit their own records. So we work our way through each of these permissions for this basic user across all of the application functions, and you're well on your way to getting your system configured to add users and begin adding value for your business. Okay, so that was a quick introduction to getting your company set up and beginning the process of thinking about user roles and permissions and adding them to your system. Thanks a lot.